Hello, friends. If you receive supplemental security income, the Social Security Administration already has the legal authority to look directly inside your bank account. Not in the future, right now. The SSA uses an electronic system to verify bank balances against the program's eligibility limits. And the resource limit that triggers a review is just $2,000. 2 months of letting your SSI payments sit untouched in your account, and you could be over the line. Most seniors receiving SSI have no idea how close to that threshold they are, or what happens when the SSA finds out they crossed it. What I am going to do today is walk you through exactly how this works, who it affects, what the SSA is looking for, and most importantly, what you can do right now to protect your benefits before a letter arrives that you were not expecting. Before we get into it, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do that now and turn on the bell. And I want to explain why that genuinely matters here. The rules around Social Security, SSI, and federal benefits change constantly. When they change, the SSA does not call you with a personal explanation. They update the policy and expect you to already know. What I do on this channel is take those changes, break them down in plain language, and get that information to you before the deadlines pass and the mistakes are already made. The people subscribed here find out in time. The ones who are not tend to find out afterwards, after the letter, after the overpayment notice, after the window to challenge has already closed. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and let us get into what is actually happening. The first thing you need to understand is the resource limit. If you receive SSI, the Supplemental Security Income Program, you are allowed to have no more than $2,000 in countable resources if you are single, or $3,000 if you are married. That limit covers cash, checking accounts, savings accounts, stocks, bonds, and most other assets that could be converted to money. It does not cover your primary home, one vehicle, or certain other excluded items, but everything else counts. And if your countable resources go above that limit on the first day of any month, you are not eligible for SSI for that month. Here is what makes this genuinely alarming for so many people. That $2,000 limit has not changed since 1989. It has never been adjusted for inflation. If it had kept pace with inflation since it was set, it would be well over $5,000 today. But it has not moved. And the maximum federal SSI payment in 2026 is $994 a month. That means 2 months of letting your SSI payment accumulate in your bank account without spending it could push you over the limit entirely. Not because you did anything wrong, not because you received a windfall, simply because the money sat there. Here is the part most people do not know. The SSA uses an electronic verification system to check bank balances. They can review your account without advance warning. There's no set schedule. It can happen once a year, twice a year, or at other intervals depending on your case. And if they find that your balance exceeded $2,000 on the first of any month, they can determine that you were ineligible for that month's payment, calculate an overpayment going back to when the excess began, and send you a letter demanding the money back. These letters arrive without warning. They state an amount you supposedly owe and give you a limited window to respond before collection begins. In some cases, the overpayment can go back months or even years. And the people receiving them are often completely blindsided because they had no idea the balance check was happening or that holding slightly too much in their account had any consequence at all. Here is what makes this situation particularly difficult for the people caught by it. In many cases, the excess resources were completely innocent. A family member sent money for a medical bill, a tax refund arrived, a small inheritance came through. The person spent the money within weeks, sometimes within days. But the SSA checks balances on the first of the month. If the money was sitting there on that date, even temporarily, it counts. The review does not care why the money was there or how long it stayed. It only cares whether the balance was above $2,000 on that specific date. And because most seniors receiving SSI have no idea this is how the system works, they do not take steps to protect themselves before that first of the month balance check happens. If you receive an SSI overpayment notice from the SSA, you have 60 days from the date on that notice to file an appeal. You can also request a waiver of the overpayment, which asks the SSA not to collect the debt at all. There are two grounds for a waiver. First, that the overpayment was not your fault. Second, that recovering it would cause you financial hardship. The SSA will not mention the waiver option in the overpayment letter. You have to know to ask for it. And in cases of genuine financial hardship, the SSA has the authority to waive the debt entirely. They will not offer that themselves. You have to request it in writing using Form SSA-632. The critical point is timing. Once the SSA begins withholding from your monthly benefit to recover the overpayment, your ability to negotiate drops considerably. If a notice has already arrived, do not ignore it. Contact the SSA directly on 1-800-772-1213 or visit your local Social Security office. You have 60 days from the date on the letter. That deadline is real and it matters. Now, here is what you can do right now to protect yourself before any of this happens. The first step is knowing exactly where your resources stand today. Log into your My Social Security account at ssa.gov. Review what the SSA has on record for your resources. Then look at your actual bank balance on the first of next month, before it arrives. If you are close to $2,000, or if you think you may have gone over at any point in recent months, you need to act before the SSA finds it first. The second step is understanding what is excluded from the resource count. Your primary home does not count. One vehicle does not count, regardless of its value, as long as a household member uses it for transportation. Household goods and personal items do not count. Life insurance with a face value under $1,500 does not count. Burial funds set aside separately up to $1,500 do not count. And here is the one most people miss entirely, an ABLE account. In 2026, a significant expansion took effect, meaning you can now open an ABLE account if your qualifying disability began before age 46. Previously, the cutoff was age 26, which locked out millions of adults who acquire disabilities later in life. An ABLE account that stays below $100,000 does not count toward your SSI resource limit at all. If you have been unable to save anything because of the $2,000 cap, an ABLE account is currently the most accessible legal way to build any kind of financial cushion without losing your benefits. The third step is knowing exactly what you are required to report to the SSA if you receive SSI. Any change in your income from any source, any change in your resources, including money received as a gift, a tax refund, an inheritance, a personal injury settlement, or any other one-time payment. Any change in where you live, any change in who lives with you, any change in your marital status. The SSA must be notified of these changes by the 10th day of the month following the month the change occurred. Most people receiving SSI are unaware that the reporting obligation is this specific and this tight. Missing a reporting deadline is one of the most common reasons overpayments happen. Not dishonesty, simply not knowing the rules. If any of those changes have occurred and you have not yet reported them, do it now, before a balance review surfaces the discrepancy first. You can report to the SSA by calling 1-800-772-1213, by visiting ssa.gov, or by going in person to your local Social Security office. And if you are not sure whether something counts as a resource or whether a change needs to be reported, do not guess. Contact your local legal aid office or the SSA directly before making any assumptions. One conversation before the letter arrives is worth far more than trying to appeal after the fact. So here is where things stand. The SSA has the legal authority to check your bank account if you receive SSI. The resource limit is $2,000 for an individual, unchanged since 1989. And just 2 months of accumulated payments can push you over that line. The SSA's electronic verification system reviews balances without advance notice, and overpayment notices can cover months or years of excess resources. The reason most people are caught is not dishonesty. It is that the resource rules, the reporting deadlines, and the excluded items are more complex than anyone explained to them when they first enrolled. If a notice has arrived, you have 60 days to appeal or request a waiver using Form SSA 632. The SSA will not tell you the waiver exists unless you ask. If you are in genuine financial hardship, the debt can be waived entirely. Check your resource position now at ssa.gov. Understand what is excluded: your home, your vehicle, burial funds, and your ABLE account. Know your reporting obligations and act on any missed reports before the SSA finds them first. Call 1-800-772-1213. That one step this week could be the difference between staying ahead of this and opening a letter you were not expecting. Subscribe and pass this on to anyone you know who receives SSI or any Social Security benefit. One conversation could protect them from an overpayment notice they never saw coming.